But for some queer and trans people, it can be deeply healing to find out that the harmful versions of religion that you've been a part of aren't the only way. My name is Karen Rice. I use she, her pronouns. I identify as bisexual or queer. I'm a cisgender woman, and I've lived in Santa Barbara for 5 years now. So I came out as bisexual probably about 9 or 10 years ago now. But that was after college. I didn't really have a sense of myself as anything but straight. I grew up in a conservative Presbyterian church, and church was my family's whole life. And that church was really conservative around gender and sexuality, but then they were moving toward justice in areas of racial justice. So to live in that space, to grow up in that community was pretty confusing. I think the most damaging message I got from my religious upbringing was a belief that people are fundamentally broken or flawed, and that your feelings, your experiences, your desires are always going to be sinful or wrong. They're always going to lead you astray. You cannot trust yourself. Early on in figuring out my queerness, that message that you can't trust yourself, that was a big barrier for me to understand my sexuality. Coming into my queerness has been a joyful process of learning to trust myself more, to trust that I am deeply good, and what brings me joy and what makes me more myself does bring me closer to God. And so it was really transformative to me to go to a church in Washington, D.C., Calvary Baptist Church, where they had very progressive theological beliefs. For the first couple of years that I ever heard people refer to God using she, her pronouns, every single time it would choke me up. Every time, because there was this sense of God could be so much more expansive than what we knew before. And so for me, that's been a really beautiful opportunity then to be a pastor here at a church in Santa Barbara. I was already part of the community, and then the opportunity arose they needed another pastor on staff and invited me to apply. And it's been really beautiful the past few years to be in a role of church leadership, which is a family tradition of mine, but to do this in a way that I am my whole self and that I invite people into deep love and acceptance and liberation has been really healing for me. I would never ask a queer or trans person to re-engage with religion if it would be harmful to them. But for some queer and trans people, it can be deeply healing to find out that the harmful versions of religion that you've been a part of aren't the only way. I think all people of faith need to engage seriously with what repair looks like in the face of the harm that we people of faith have done to queer and trans people. Because there's so much harm that has been done in the name of Christianity and in the name of the Christian God. And we have to be able to grapple with that and make amends for that. And there's so much possible beauty and liberation that can come out of that. Like a religion that can say, oh, you're broken and wrong, also says that every single person is made in the image of God. Like that's an incredibly healing and beautiful belief. And I don't want to give over faith or specifically Christianity. I don't want to say that the most conservative, most hateful people have dibs on Christianity, that they define what it is and what it could be. Because for me, if I had walked away entirely from faith, I would have walked away from some part of myself.